Tell us about the childhood of Tiffany Abney.
Well, I started off running track when I was 3 years old. And from there, I ran track through grade school, high school, college. Um, and I want to say I'm like a 13-time PIAA track and field state champion. I'm in the Pennsylvania Hall of Fame from my track uh, years.
Mm.
I had a full scholarship to the University of Houston. And yeah, athletics was always really a big thing for me growing up. So I think that's how I ended up getting into what I'm in now because I've always been super athletic.
Awesome. Okay, so you're from PA. Didn't know that about you. I assume you were from the West Coast, but
Oh no,
I
no,
was
I'm
way
from
off.
West. Yeah, I'm from West Philly.
Oh wow. Wow, I was definitely way off on that one. Now Tiffany, on our podcast, we ask the hard questions because we discuss a lot of these issues, with our young people. Oftentimes they have questions that I can't answer right off top. So it's good to get people that's actually in these industries to answer the questions. So with that being said, I'll get right to it. What are your thoughts on the representation in the stunt industry for African Americans and people of color as a whole?
Well, there's definitely more opportunity than there was, I think, when I first got into stunts. So that there's more representation, which stun people more opportunity if there's opportunities for us to double. If there's not a bunch of Black people for us to double, then we have a little bit of a problem there. So I have noticed that there's been a lot more inclusivity with African American actors, which then makes there more inclusivity with African American stunt people. Um, there, there is a bit of a shortage, I would feel like, in some areas of the stunt industry. Like, for instance, there's not a bunch of women uh, drivers, like Black drivers. There's a few. There's some really good ones, but I feel like there could be more because there's so many jobs, and you know, if all of us are booked and another job comes up, then it's like, okay, what does that stunt coordinator do at that point? Does he hire a Black African American male to do the job? Does he hire a Caucasian female to do the job? What do you do when you get to that point? So I've been helping a friend of mine, LaFay Baker, who has a foundation called A Diamond in the Raw. And within her foundation, she just started doing these workshops, which I think is freaking phenomenal. This past weekend, I went to one of her workshops, and she had girls in the workshop who were, I want to say, between the ages of like 14 and 17 years old. And each day of the workshop is a different discipline within stunts. So the day that I was there, we helped the girls learn basic wire work. And I just thought that was so phenomenal because I haven't seen that done yet. And so far they've done horseback riding, they've done
Okay.
ratchets, they're going to do some firework, they did some high falls already. And I'm like, wow, I wish when I was 14 years old, there was a camp that I could go to learn how to do the basics and be a stunt person. I didn't even know what stunts was until I was like in my late 20s. So I think what she's doing is phenomenal, and I hope she continues to do it. I know it's been a lot of work for her to do it and get it together and all of that. So I'm hoping that she can figure out how to maintain it and to get more people involved because I think that is so necessary. I think it's so needed because, again, there's so many jobs for African American people right now. And it's great to be a Black person in the stunt industry because there's so many jobs. We all work all the time. Like, for instance, right now Black Panther is shooting. So a bunch of my friends are out in Atlanta shooting the second Black Panther. But then that takes a huge chunk of the African American stunt community to Atlanta. And now, you know, there's all these jobs and a bunch of people are gone. So I think what LaFay is doing, again, is phenomenal. And I'm happy to help her. And I hope that she can make it even bigger. I hope she can make it a thing across the US in different states where younger people can learn how to get into the stunt business.
Now, as you were describing, as I was thinking of kind of like a parallel to this, where I had a former NFL player. He's originally from Ghana, West Africa, like myself, and
Mhm.
he played in Nebraska in college. He played for the Oakland Raiders, and you know, having him on the podcast, he talked about how he was looking to tap into um, something that I never thought of, but bringing American football to our homeland of Ghana and introducing
Mhm.
kids to the football camps, the different techniques, tackling, throwing the football, catching the football. And as you're talking about like the wire work and the tumbling and the falling, you know, I'm thinking there's an untapped demographic, which would be our younger people of color. So, you know, as you're talking, I'm thinking of all that at the same time. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, is there like an off season, preseason, regular season, postseason, or playoffs for a professional stunt person?
No,
Where
absolutely
does
not.
it look like?
No, it's always like there's always I mean, unless it's quarantine, that's the only time that we weren't working, but it's all year round. So if because productions go all year round. So we work all the time, like literally all the time.
Where do you find, where do you find like your approach as far as like a big production with big names? Now it says you've doubled for Gabrielle Union. Like
Yes.
how is your mindset when you're going around a big production with these big names? Like what is your mindset when you're coming in? Are you a little bit nervous, butterflies, like your old days running track, or do you have a different mindset from that?
No, I don't get nervous at all. I think I get more nervous for specific stunts than I do being around actors and actresses. There are people just like I'm a person. They just, are in a profession where they're seen all the time and heard all the time. And I think that's the difference between them and I. Because I work hard just like they work hard. You know, we all work hard. Everybody. If you have a job, I don't care if you're a garbage man. Like whatever you do, you it takes waking up early in the morning, working hard at what you're doing, being stressed out, being tired. You know, we all go through the same things regardless of whether we're in the entertainment industry or we're not. So for me, I just look at it like I'm just going to go do my job and I just want to do the best job that I can do. And I want to give my actress the best direction that I can give her. And I want to be a good team player with her and with the producers and the directors and the writers and everybody else, the other stunt people that are there. So I think I'm more so focused on making sure I do a great job, but and also making sure that I'm safe and that I keep my actress safe and that I keep the people in the vicinity of what is happening in the scene safe. So yeah, I think those are the things that I'm thinking about when I'm going to work and making sure that if I'm doing like a fight, for instance, that I know all the choreo, I feel comfortable with the choreo, I feel comfortable with the people who I'm doing choreography with. Um, and you know, I feel comfortable with the director come stepping in and making his notes and changing things around, or the writer or the actress or other actors or whoever or the stunt coordinator. And I go to work and I just think about doing the best job that I can and staying focused, because one thing about stunts is it's really easy to mess up. And if you mess up at what I do, it could
Oh,
be a really bad thing. So I have to mentally prepare myself to focus and to be alert and to pay attention to everything around me, what I'm doing, what other people are doing. So sometimes for me, I get so used to going to work sometimes that sometimes there are times where I'm like not focused on all those things because I'm just so used to being at work. But then I snap back into it. I'm like, wait a second, you're not where you need to be. You need to be more focused on what's going on. So I think that's the biggest thing more than anything else.
I definitely appreciated that insight that only a professional stunt person would be able to provide.
No problem.
And I've heard about only like a handful of actors that sometimes do their own stunts. Back in the day, it was said that Jackie Chan would do some of his own stunts. Have you ran into an actor or actress that you could say, oh wow, they're more athletic and agile than I thought?
Oh, absolutely. I would say Luke Cage. What that? Mike Coulter.
Culture? Okay.
Yes, I was very shocked and surprised when I got to rehearsal with him, because I know his stunt double Guy, and I know Guy Fernandez. Guy is a great fighter. He's a great rigger. He's a great stunt man. He's now a stunt coordinator, and he's working on Star Trek Picard, and he's doing a phenomenal job. But I thought that Guy was going to be stepping in and doing the majority of the fight. But then I get there and I rehearsed with Guy and the other stunt people so that when Mike came in, he could see what was going on and what we're doing. And we ran it maybe once or twice. And then he stepped in and he had the choreo down. And I was very shocked. And I was like, I, I wonder if he has a background in, because usually people who are more athletic or dancers are really good at stunts because they can catch on to choreography really quickly. So I was like, oh, maybe he's got some kind of background or something. But he shocked me, because I was not expecting him to just step in the way he did and do the choreo and do a really good job too. Because sometimes actors will want to do the choreo or want to do the stunt and they'll do it, and then they'll step out, and then the stunt coordinator and the director's like, all right, let's bring the stunt people in to redo
Okay.
it. So that happens often, because the actor's like, I want to try it. So we let them try it, we talk them through it, we show them what they're doing, and sometimes they do a great job and sometimes they miss the mark a little bit. And so that's what we're here for, to step in when need be. But the short answer to the long dialogue that I just gave you is I was very surprised by Mike Coulter stepping in and doing such a phenomenal job, doing a lot of the fights on Luke Cage. Guy also did a phenomenal job with Luke Cage. Guy took a lot of wrecks on that show. I've seen some of them and I'm like, what were you thinking?
I bet he had a hand in that scene, the fight scene against the Bushmaster. There was a lot of
Yes.
footwork involved from both sides on that one.
Yeah, well, they're both really great. Like I said, Mike is he learns very quickly, and he can step in and he can get in and dominate. And not only as far as the choreo is concerned, not only doing the choreo, but making the choreo real. Because there's a huge difference between doing fight choreography and making the fight choreography look like an actual fight and like it's real, and not just like beat after beat after beat after beat after beat, because you've got to put acting into fight choreo as well. So I was really shocked by him, but I was pleasantly surprised, and he did a phenomenal job when I was there. I fought with him a few times on I think season 2. So yeah.
and to stay on the superhero saga, could you tell us a little bit about your work on Black Lightning?
Black Lightning. What did I do in Black Lightning? I don't know that I don't think I did too much. I did one episode of Black Lightning, and I was just like an ND stunt person, which ND means nondescript. And sometimes when you're like an ND stunt person, like I think what I did in Black Lightning was like crowd control pretty much. So oh no, I was either utility stunt or ND on Black Lightning. So yeah, so it was just like one of those jobs I went in and I just made sure that nobody got trampled and nobody, because it was a big crowd scene, and just making sure that everything looked good. And of course, again, being aware of what's all happening in the scene, making sure that the actors aren't getting trampled, and making sure that everybody is safe. So there are times where I go to work just to be safety. Um, and there are times I go to work to kick somebody's ass. Like there's
Beautiful.
different things within the stunt business, and being a stunt person, it, you know, not just, it's not always doing fight choreography. Sometimes it's just making sure everything is going smoothly and keeping an eye on things that need an eye on them.
And Tiffany, so you came all the way from Philly to, to the West Coast to Hollywood, so to speak. For those of us that are also far away from California, for our young, our young 18 to 25-year olds that want to try out, want to try out the stunt industry, kind of get their feet wet, what would be like 4 or 5 initial steps to take?
Well, the first, hmm, I don't know if this is in order, but one step that you absolutely have to take, the basis of every stunt person is fighting. I mean, you can be a car person, you can be a motorcycle person, you can be a horse person, you can specialize in high falls, you can specialize in wire work, gymnastics, fire. There's so many different things that you can specialize in. Water work, scuba diving, but every stunt person should know how to do fight choreography. That's like the basic. And every stunt person should know how to fall, because we fall all of the time. So falling in fights are two things that are like the most basic things that everybody should know how to do. So I always suggest for people to find like a stunt gym or a place where other stunt people go to train, and start training, because I don't feel like you can really be a stunt person, or and especially, not if you're trying to do like Marvel films and the big movies and the big TV shows. You really have to know how to fall, and you really have to know how to fight. So I always suggest people to go to a stunt gym or a gym where stunt people go, and start learning how to fight and training in that discipline first. And then once you get really good at that, you can move into something else that you might like horseback riding or bike work or car work. But I think that's one of the most important things to do, is to train and be prepared. And then also you have to be in the union. So you have to be a member of SAG-AFTRA.
Okay.
So I would say to go ahead and do what you need to do to get into the union. And I think it's been a very long time since I got into the union, so I'm not sure exactly what the requirements are at this point. I know that when I got in, you had to have 3 SAG vouchers, which means you had to work on a production, and the production gave you a SAG voucher. Now I think it's like 5 vouchers, or you can be tapped Hartleyed into the business, which happens on shows like Black Panther. When there's not enough people and they need more, they say, we'll tap Hartley you into the business, which means you'll automatically become SAG once you do this job. And then from there, you just have to pay your SAG membership, which I don't know at this point is maybe like 3,500, something like that. When I was becoming SAG, I think it was like 25 or 27. But I want to say it's like $3,500 now, but which is honestly not just the base pay for us is $1,000 a day. And that's the base pay, you know. So
Oh,
say your
wow.
SAG dues it won't be hard. You might be able to make your SAG dues in a day, you know. So yeah, I would say you said
That's
five
awesome.
things. You said five things, but I don't know. So become SAG, train, get around other stunt
How do you
people.
like learn about like is there like auditions, like casting calls for a stunt person?
I mean, on something like Black Panther, they had a casting call because they really could not find people. I don't know what they utilized. I don't know how they found people. Um, Sometimes I know a friend of mine who was stunt coordinating uh, some movie, and he needed Black gymnasts, like kids, or yeah, he needed like a younger version of. So I forgot who this story was about, but he needed a younger version of a character that did gymnastics, and that was so hard to
Yeah,
find. Like
tell me about it.
everybody was trying to find this person. So then they started calling around different gyms, like I don't know exactly what gymnastics gyms are called, but they started calling around different gymnastics gyms in California to see if they could find this person. And I believe they found someone. But that also happens too. Like they'll start calling outside of the business to try to find the right person. So um, I wouldn't say that's the easiest way to get into stunts because it's like you just so happen to be the right person at the right time.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I think the best way to get into stunts is to just start training and getting around other stunt people, because the thing about stunts is, and this is how I get my work, is word of mouth. So if I'm training with a bunch of people and then one of them gets hired on a show and the stunt coordinator is like, I need a 5'9" African American female. Do you know any Black people? They're like, oh yeah, Tiffany. And
Mm.
so that's how I'll get a job, because somebody said, oh, call Tiffany. And then I'll work for that person, and then I'll do a phenomenal job. And then they'll say, oh my God, you're great. I'm going to hire you again
Okay.
on for another day. And then somebody will call that person and say, hey, I'm looking for a 5'9" African American female. Do you know any? Oh, Tiffany just worked for me. She's amazing. Here's her information. So that's kind of like how we get work in the stunt industry. It's very much like
A
who
lot of
you
networking.
know. Yeah, it's a lot of networking for sure.
Awesome. And this probably the most difficult question because it's a little bit off the pace. Now, if you were uh, if you were to do if you were to direct a movie about your life thus far,
Mhm.
what would be the title of the movie? Who would play you and why?
Oh gosh, there's so many different aspects of my life. Like, mm, there's so many different aspects of my life. There's the track Tiffany, there's college Tiffany, there's stunt Tiffany. Um, what would be the name?
What would you
Shoot,
title
that's
it?
what would I title it? I don't know exactly what I would title it, but I know the title, and I'm never good at coming up with titles, because even when I do short films and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, what's the title?" I'm like, Untitled. It's called Untitled." Until somebody else comes up with a really good name. But the name would have to have something to do with being very strong, um, and going through a lot of adversity, and coming out of all of those things and being a successful person who still doesn't have it all together. So I don't know, maybe we can write down all those things and start brainstorming and come up with something. But who would play me? Oh man.
And it doesn't, you know, it doesn't have to be like a big name when you
Yeah.
saying like that.
I feel like, I don't know, for some reason I'm getting China McClain. I mean,
Oh,
she
from
doesn't,
Black Lightning?
yeah, we don't like look super similar. But just her, like, she's a great actress to me. I think she's so
Yes, yes,
talented.
she is. She came a long way
She's,
from Disney.
yes, she can sing, she can dance. And I feel like she's got a very wholesome spirit. And I feel like she knows what she wants in her life. And I feel like she is very driven. And I feel like someone like her, I think, would play me.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome.
But again, we don't even really look alike. I mean, I could probably double. I don't know how tall she is. I could probably double her, but
Oh, so
yeah.
usually when you double for an actress, is there like no more, cannot be any more than 2 inches taller or 2 inches shorter type of deal, or not
It
necessarily?
depends, because like I have a motorcycle job that I just auditioned for yesterday, that I just got today. They just called me today and told me I got the job. And I probably am 3 inches taller than the actress, but it's on a bike, so you really can't tell. Um,
Ah,
and then I mean, I've been taller than my actresses. I've been shorter than my actresses. I double on 911 Lone Star. I double two actresses on 911 Lone Star. One is 5'11" and one is like 6 foot, something like that. And I'm 5'9". So yeah, I'm the same like look as both of those actresses, kind of the same build, but just a little bit shorter. So it happens. It definitely happens. They try to get the best matches that they can, but if there's one black stunt woman that I know that's 5'11", and she's the only one that I know of. Actually, no, there's two. There's two that are 5'11", and those are the only two that I know of.
wow.
Yeah.
Now, last but not least, what does your diet or regimen look like? Just kind of a glimpse
Mm.
into a day in the life of a professional stunt person. Are you eating chicken and broccoli all day, every day? Or
Well, absolutely not. I know people do stuff like that, but I'm a food person. I love food, and I'll be completely honest with you. I love to eat. Like, I love food. I just got some Jamaican jerk shrimp from Cheesecake Factory right before I got on this call, and I'm going to eat it when I get off the phone with rice and beans and plantains.
what you know
So
about plantains, Miss Abney?
that's what I'm eating today. West Philly and in there. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Penn Relays, but every Jamaican in the city of Philadelphia goes, and you just wouldn't even believe how many Jamaicans are in that
In
city.
Philly.
Yes, there's a whole lot of Jamaicans there. So I ate, growing up, I ate a lot of Jamaican food. Um, and yeah, I mean, I eat what I want to eat. I don't really, I don't really overindulge, but I don't, if I want to eat something, I'll eat it. I do work out, so that helps. I do train, so that
Now, are
helps a
you
lot.
doing like
I don't drink
weightlifting
too
or more
much.
CrossFit type workouts?
No, no, like fight training. I do a lot of
Okay.
fight training. I do a lot of um, motorcycle training. Um, I do a lot of horseback riding, a lot of boxing, tactical work. So I do stuff like that when it comes to training, not necessarily like go in the gym. Like, I'll go in the gym sometimes and do like actual gym, like lifting weights and things like that. But the majority of my training is like stunt related.
Okay.
So Yeah, I mean, I eat what I want. I don't drink a lot. I'm not really I have my moments where I drink, but I don't typically drink a whole lot. So because especially when I'm training and I know I'm going to be training a lot, I don't really drink because it just doesn't go so well with
Yeah, I bet.
having to wake up early in the morning and a whole training session. So yeah.
Well, Tiffany, I want to thank you for being humble enough to spend a good 25 to 30 minutes of your time with us. We're gonna upload this episode onto our main podcast page on Facebook, Heavy Brand Podcast. Thank you so much for this opportunity and for exposing our young people to the fabulous action-packed world of professional stunt acting. Thank you so much, Tiffany.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Continue blessings.
Thanks. You too. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.